My name is LaLa Milan. Stop, that don't make me swing my ponytail.
Hey LALA Squad, what it do? It's your girl LaLa and I'm back with a whole nother video, honey, and today is a super cute bomb day. Why? Because today I'm going to be talking about Beautycon. Now, if y'all heard anything about it, y'all must know the goods and the bads. And quite frankly, it was a lot of good for me. Your girl hosted Beautycon 2019 in New York City, honey, for the very first time. And it was kind of a huge moment. Why? Because last year I literally went as a +1 to my girl Shalom. And to go from being a +1, standing in a room, paying for my own flight, honey, having to just take care of everything, to this year hosting it, turning around, getting paid to host the gig, getting flown and getting provided with a room and everything was just a whole glow up, if you ask me. And I was super grateful for the opportunity. Now let's talk about Beautycon in itself. For those of y'all who don't know, it's a pretty much beauty convention where you go for 2 days on the weekend and you collect so many goodies. You get to meet with different vendors. You get to see some of your favorite internet sensations and also celebrities. You just never know who's going to show up there, and you'd be quite frankly really surprised as to who shows up. For example, they had Rick Ross there. I never would have expected to see him, but for those of y'all who don't know, honey, he actually has a beard care line. So shout out to Rick Ross, honey. But also there's of course people there who you may not have heard of, who you actually get interested in later on. For me, such as myself, I got to meet the famous Susie, who actually did the braids for Beyonce's Lemonade video. And I told her, we meet a lot of people who we come across that we never ever knew existed, but we always be wanting to know, like, who did that? And they're legends behind the scenes, if that makes sense. That's good and all, but I wouldn't be me if I didn't keep it real with y'all. There was a lot of backlash from Beautycon, honey. There were, well, let me show the tweets. So let me keep it real with y'all. I can only speak to y'all about my point of view. And my point of view was behind the scenes, so it's a little bit of insider, okay? First of all, being the host, being behind the stage, hearing everything that's going on is truly like, oh my goodness, what is happening, everything like that, right? The main thing that I saw had a whole bunch of people in a frenzy was the fact that Cardi B was behind, right? So here's the thing. We all assumed that Cardi was going to be there at a certain time, and whenever we noticed she wasn't, it was no panic initially because we had no idea as to how far behind she was. But in Beautycon and Cardi's defense, one, Cardi said it on stage herself. Honey, she overbooks herself. She wasn't even aware that she was going to end up being late. And quite frankly, me being an entrepreneur myself, honey, I'm never, ever, ever turning down any bags that come my way. Okay? Now, on the Beautycon side, it was a thing of everybody started pointing their fingers at them and being angry with them because of the fact that Cardi was late. Now, here's the thing. There were doors that were closed, which a lot of people said that that was a fire hazard. People were frustrated because they said they weren't able to go see the vendors and they were locked inside of the room. It was so many complaints. Well, again, me being on the backside, one thing that I saw is that they were doing the best that they could in the interest of safety for every single body. Once when came in that Cardi was coming and she was on her way, nobody actually knew what time exactly. So they had to go ahead and start closing the doors simply because so many people were trying to pour into the room and the room was at capacity. Honey, me being on that stage and seeing all of those people who were there for the show, I was blown away. Honestly, every time that I stepped off the stage and came back, the room got more packed, and packed. Honey, it looked like a sea of roaches whenever you leave some food in the kitchen in the hood. I ain't even gonna lie. And I was really shocked and surprised, but at the same time, how could I be? Because, honey, that's the kind of crowd that Cardi brings. Now, I say that to say it was difficult to see, one, because everybody was getting frustrated and irritated, and I even heard that some fights had broke out, you know, and I felt like, as me being the host, it was my job to help to try to calm the situation, which I felt like I did a really good job, and thankfully a lot of people confirmed that by sending out, you know, positive tweets, and I appreciate y'all for that. But one thing that helped me to remain calm throughout the whole process was the fact that, knowing in show business, things tend to happen. Now, granted, one thing that I can absolutely say is that no, the event did not go perfect. But, honey, something that I can mention is that I feel like for what it was, they handled it very, very well. And I feel like every time that something happens, there's always going to be people who tend to go overboard. There were a lot of people who were like, thank you so much for continuing the event, not canceling. What y'all don't know is that they ended up having to pay overages for the building simply because the time went over, but they love their audience and their fans so much that they decided to do that so that way they could see Cardi come out on the stage, you know. So there's a whole bunch of things that went into this whole presentation that people don't even know about, and they were only thinking about themselves and just getting frustrated, but not realizing, honey, this is a whole group effort. So here's some cute moments of me on the stage getting turned with the crowd, honey. Honey, this was in the beginning whenever everything was going good. Everybody was having a good time. We had some cool panelists come up, such as Supa, Manny MUA, Courtney from Main Choice. It was a lot of fly people up on that stage. And quite frankly, I was honored and I felt humbled to be able to be around them, talk to them. Even Charlamagne and Angie, who owns, she just does it all for the Shade Room. That was even a good panel in itself, and it was such a breath of fresh air to hear moguls and, you know, entrepreneurs talk about themselves. Now, anyways, let me show y'all the clip when the crowd started getting a little crazy on your girl.
Every time I come out here, it gets fuller and fuller. I want y'all to know. Don't join in on that name. She was looking like Cardi.
Now, as y'all could see, honey, it was a little tense, okay? The audience started going a little crazy, yelling out Cardi. I let them have their moment. You know what I mean? Go ahead and yell. Go ahead and let it out. Honey, in my mind, I was like, we done? Because I was trying to keep it real with everybody, stay updated, you know, because as an audience member, if I were to have been one at the time, I would have wanted the same thing. I figured that was the least that I could do. So in that moment, it felt good because I went ahead and lightened it a little bit with some comedy. Everybody started laughing, you know, and then I was like, okay, let me go backstage.
See y'all soon.
So I'm not gonna lie, y'all. There came a point where it was just getting dragged out so much to where I didn't even want to go back on the stage, because there's a limit, okay, to where how much the audience can see you before they start booing you. And the last thing your girl needs is to get booed off of anybody's stage. I felt like I handled it pretty well. So what I did what they refer to as the voice of God, where they don't see me but they hear me, you know, and I basically let them know, look, y'all, I'm not coming back on this stage, okay, until Cardi comes. So when y'all see me, y'all gonna know that it's a good thing, and then we could go ahead and take it from there, okay? And they were cooperative at that point. Everything was still cool. And finally, The band came out, honey, started cutting up. That got them warmed up for Cardi. And y'all, when I walked back on the stage for the final time, they just went berserk. The audience went crazy. And it was such a beautiful feeling because it felt like we finally made it to the end of the finish line. And technically we did, because what they were waiting for that whole time had finally arrived. And that was Cardi B. When she came out on the stage, they lost it. They went insane. And that is exactly what Beautycon was all about. Making everybody happy and fulfilling every promise that they said they would. And as you may or may not know, honey, Cardi delivered. Okay, she did what she normally does, which is entertain, drop gems, and keep it pushing. It was so fun and exciting. And in addition to that, she had her sister Hennessy, and there was a young lady who was brought on stage who literally was just crying because she was such in awe of the presence of Cardi B. So it was really, really a beautiful thing, y'all. Get into this footage of whenever we finished it off, and quite frankly, your girl was overwhelmed with joy. As y'all can see, for me, I'm not gonna lie, from my point of view, Beautycon was super, super, super successful. And I want to give a special moment and just acknowledgement here to Moj Madeira, who is the CEO and the founder of Beautycon. Y'all, she was so under pressure, but handled it very well. Literally everybody is tapping on her shoulder, and I'm just watching like, wow, this is crazy what she's having to experience right now. But at the same time, honey, she handled it so well. And I'm gonna show y'all a clip where I knew that Moj was happy that we had completed everything too. Y'all see exactly what I'm saying, honey. A sigh of relief. It was finally completed. So I hope that this video helps to shed a little bit of light on what had happened during Beautycon. And I also hope that if you were there, honey, you have a little bit of a forgiving spirit when it comes to everything that had went down, because quite frankly, things happen in show business. And I'm sure that you've been to a concert where people was late. You know, you've been to different productions that may had everything flow perfectly. And if that's the case, then that is such a great thing. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen like that all the time. But what I will say, honey, is if you ever do get the opportunity to attend a Beautycon in the near future, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that y'all go, honey, and really get the experience. It's so fire. And hopefully, honey, I'll be hosting one that you attend to, because let's be very clear, your girl had a ball. So if you haven't done so already, honey, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell for your girl, so that way you could get more from me at all times, honey. It's your girl LaLa Milan, and best believe I love y'all for real. Bye.